Kia ora, Evonne. How are you doing? My name is Orquidea and I am the secretary for NZAG. We are super excited to welcoming you as a keynote for the upcoming conference. And I am even more excited about the topic that you're going to be talking about, which is aging by design, empathy, innovation, and the future. So, Evonne, we would love to hear about who is Evonne. Why are you excited about coming to New Zealand to share your knowledge with us? And what is this about?
That's a great question. First, who am I? I'm Evonne Miller. I'm Professor of Design Psychology and Director of the QUT Design Lab at Queensland University of Technology here in Brisbane, Australia. And some of you might be thinking, hang on, Evonne, what's design psychology? That's a bit unusual. And that, I think, is the uniqueness of who I am. I actually did my PhD in psychology at the University of Otago many years ago now. In 2003, I graduated. And subsequently, I've worked in a school of design with designers, architects, interaction designers, fashion designers, and what I do in my field is I bring those two disciplines together, design and psychology, to help us look at how the world is now and how we might want it to look. And that's really what I'm going to talk about when I'm with you in December.
That actually sounds very, very exciting. And, one of the things that I absolutely love is how when we're using creativity, we have a different way of innovating how the future should look like. And it seems like that is something that you have been working on, and that is something that the audience will absolutely be loving learning about it. So, Evonne, just double checking. Is there anything in a specific why you are so keen on sharing your knowledge?
I guess I'm really passionate about arts-based research and arts-based knowledge translation. So that's essentially using any part of the creative arts, poetry, photography, drama, videos, using that in any part of your research. So what I'll do is I'll walk through some examples of how you can do that, how you can take an interview transcript and create a poem from it, how you can put cameras in the hands of older people and ask them to photograph what is it like to live in aged care, and then what do those pictures show us, and how does that show a broader community, some of which don't really know very much about retirement living or aged care, or even very much about what it's like to grow older. If we can use these creative methods, we can engage people in a conversation and help them imagine things and actually have a conversation in a different way and connect through feeling. And so it's one of the things I'm really excited to talk about, is how we can use creativity and creative expression to engage and to educate, and the fun that's associated with it. It's very fun. So many of my projects will use public exhibitions to explore different topics, many different topics, from life and aged care to voluntary assisted dying to being a caregiver, all kinds of topics, and the value of using these creative methods to engage people who otherwise might not stop and listen and learn.
Look, and I absolutely love that, because I am a therapeutic recreation specialist, and we use every single one modality to engage the people that we care or the people that we support. And the work that you have been doing, it validates a lot of the work that we put into practice on a daily basis. So I am super excited, about everything that you're going to be sharing. I am particularly excited about the future. Obviously, we are in the era of artificial intelligence, and a lot of people seem to be a little bit scared about it. However, I think people like you see that as a massive tool for transformation. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Of course. One of the other things I do is look at how we might use technology for good, and all kinds of technology. I've done a number of projects where I've tried to co-design a robot and how we could use a robot inside aged care, and the kind of tasks it could do. It would free up staff, so staff could talk to the residents more, and the robot could do the tasks that people don't necessarily want to do, like transporting laundry, delivering meals, things like that. So we've co-designed a robot to do that. I've also done a lot of research looking at 10 different robots in aged care and how it was used and some of the challenges associated with that. Most recently, recently I've got a grant looking at called Grief Guide, Your 3 a.m. Friend, and it's an AI kind of a tool that you can talk to when you wake up and you're grieving. So this kind of interactive technology that you can experience. We're trying to use AI for good in this instance, and we're co-designing it with older people and with carers and with others. And I've also a few years ago now did a virtual reality project. Got some funding from Facebook actually, and I'll talk a little bit about the challenges and opportunities of how you can pull together a really good idea and then get funding to support that idea from different places. And we had some funding, and we developed a toolkit to put virtual reality into aged care. And then I integrated my creative methods, and we had a playwright sit down and write 3 different plays portraying the future of what could happen when you put virtual reality into aged care. So I'll talk a lot about sort of technology and AI in the future, and then I'm going to really unpack some tools that you can use to take people on this journey. So co-design and design thinking and some of the methods to surface people's fears and hopes, and then actually take them on this kind of transformational journey. We were like, well, listen, we can't stop technology, but what we can do is try and shape it so that it supports us and it helps us basically do our best work.
And I couldn't agree more with you. When I think about technology and the way that I use it in my own practice, it can be so enhancing. I believe that it's more about being aware about the ethics behind it and how to use it in order to get the best of it. I was a couple of months ago, I was talking to some practitioners on how they see the future of technology. And one of the conversations that always pops out is, how can we ensure that technology is welcome in the way that it deserves to be welcome when we are working in spaces where we are enhancing the quality of life of older adults, taking into consideration all the diversity that we are living in these days. And, it really got me thinking, because I wasn't born in New Zealand. I am a Mexican New Zealander. So when I think about my own self and my future, when I go into care, I am from a different generation, and I might be used to smart TVs and smartphones. But when I think about my practice in these days, it's a whole different concept. What are your thoughts around that?
I think you raise many, many complicated questions, because you're right. We can't actually predict what the future's going to look like. And what we need to do is have some conversations about, okay, what is a possible future? What's a plausible future? What's desirable and what's not desirable? Like, where do we, what do we want to see happen and what don't we want to see happen? Where can we use technology for good? And it might be a colleague of mine, he's a surgeon, he's using AI to transcribe and turn his letters that he sends to patients. He's turning them into different languages and actually translating them into spoken different languages. And it can be his voice speaking in Chinese or whatever it might be. So he's trying to use AI to support people. And I heard he actually gave a great example to me, which really resonated. He was talking about, we sometimes worry about, is AI going to take us away from that personal interaction that's most important? But actually, some people will be comfortable using technology, and we should support and enable those people. And then we've got more time to work with those who are not comfortable or not able, or there's some kind of equity issues. So it's not an either or. It's figuring out how we can work with the majority, help everybody, and do it together, and be honest about the pros and cons. And that's really what I would talk about and reflect on in my presentation, is how do we as leaders in this space, whether we're practitioners or researchers or whatever we're doing, we have to have this conversation about what does aging look like now for us and our families, and what will it look like in the future, and what's our role to transform the experience. And the other thing, I could talk about this for a really long time. Only other point I'll make is, the other thing I'm going to talk about in my presentation is the built form in a physical environment. So how can we redesign that to foster active and healthy aging, to foster connections, to foster playable design? How can we redesign the built form? So you can tell I'm actually going to cover quite a bit of ground. So then I'm doing that intentionally because I hope there'll be something in there that will resonate with everybody. So you might be like, oh, yep, I'm interested in technology. Okay, well, the bit where I talk about technology, that will really, that will resonate with you. Or you might be, what, I'm really interested in architecture and interaction design, how we might use that to create, more active or more playable spaces that support people's mobility. Then that element will interest you. Or you might be more interested in process, how we run a co-design workshop. So kind of like a little smorgasbord. And then hopefully afterwards, I'll chat with everybody who wants to go more deep into any or all of those topics.
Yeah, no, that's super exciting. I mean, what I'm hearing is that co-creation, for example, AI and the human, or the practitioner, the researcher. Evonne, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience?
Oh my goodness, you're really putting the pressure on. No, I can't think of anything other than I'm really, really looking forward to being there with you, and learning from all of you as well, like learning what you're up to, what the challenges, opportunities are, what you see the future holding, and just having that space for dialogue. I think that's really important. We live these really busy lives. It can be a bit hectic. So carving out that time where we connect with like-minded people, share and exchange, I think that's, really it's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm just very excited to be with you actually very soon.
Hey, look, thank you so much for your time today. It's been absolutely wonderful.